This is a professional wood shop, but I am not a woodworker. The cat's away and the shop is empty, so today I will attempt to make a box. You've got 6.5 and almost 3/4, but not quite. How are you supposed to divide that by 2? I'm not a fan of imperial, so I found the only measuring device in the shop that was in metric. 17 divided by 2, 8.5, is a center. I can't avoid it forever. I have to eventually use power tools. Luckily, it's a soft stop, so the worst that could happen is I'm gonna get something flung back at me. Yeah, that feels okay. Which one? Which side did I do? Well, they're both good now, so one of the cuts will be this way and the other will be this way. I need support. For whatever reason, the guide just refused to slide smoothly across the channel on the table saw, so I gave up on it and decided to look for another tool that I knew existed in the shop. The cuts with the sled went smoothly, but somehow I missed the right angle for some of the pieces. How did that happen? Why were they not square? On the other side of the workbench is the project that the actual woodworker is working on. I wonder how long until someone figures out whose shop this is. So this one needs to be shaved down a little bit. I erased the dovetails that I drew because I was struck by what I thought was a brilliant idea. And I'm going to be using the angles of this thing, and that way I can repeat those same angles on all of my other boards without having to struggle. I don't know if this is how it's intended to be used, but I think I just discovered something amazing. I was very proud of this discovery for a while, but then I had to start cutting. So this is where I drew the line, and this is where I cut. The consequences of using the wide angles of the triangle tool suddenly became very obvious. I also experimented with this slice before you saw method that I saw in a Paul Sellers video, but I made the cut line a little messy, so I eventually just went straight for the saw. With every cut, I felt that I was damaging the tails a little bit more and making dents, and this angle was just too extreme for my chiseling skills. It's not really going in. After a break and a visit from the cat, I learned that there are tools in this shop that are meant specifically for dovetail angles. This guide had a very subtle angle and was quite easy to use. The only thing I didn't understand was why there was a hole in the very corner, because the tip of my pencil kept sinking into it. Alright, let's look at the results. This was the very first joint with a really difficult angle. It looks like at some point I got mixed up about the direction. I was expecting the dovetail cutting to go a little better given my last project, but apparently cutting 4 dovetails does not an expert make. But I will try one more thing, glue and some sanding. Apparently that's supposed to cover some of these more unseemly gaps. So while the glue cures, it's time to move on to the base of the board. I'm going to be using this strip of walnut. I'm going to cut this into sections, glue this to the bottom of the box, and then have the base of the box sit on it. So they'll basically be glued to the box on their side, and they're just too much leverage. It will snap. So what I think I should do is use the bandsaw to we can put the bottom of the box now and glue it onto this base. I'm a little bit worried about how warpy it is, so I'm going to scavenge the scrap cart for a different board. Put it in. I considered not making a lid for the box, given how the joints turned out, but it felt a bit like giving up, so I just went through with it. And I'm glad I did, because I think I started liking it more as soon as it got a lid. Since the angles of the box weren't perfectly square, I got to a partial fit using the shooting board, and then I used the hand plane to get to a proper fit. So here is my very first box using dovetail joints. I think I spent around 8 hours making this. Mistakes were made, lessons were learned, success was achieved.